Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Soldiers Angels podcast, a tribute to our heroes. Today, we are joined by a highly motivated and inspirational Army veteran. He deployed to Iraq multiple times throughout his military career and was supported by one of our Angel volunteers while he was serving. I'd like to welcome Carlos Garcia to the podcast. Sir, thank you so much for meeting us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you prior to, leading up to this. I feel like you have a great story to put on here, so I'm glad that you're here to finally share it with all of us. From the whole organization, just to start off, I just want to say thank you so much for your service. As you know, we serve all military veterans, so anytime we come through here, we always like to say thank you for your service. That's what we do.
I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you guys for all you do.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. It's our pleasure, for sure. So, getting started here, I guess we'll just start off with the very basics. Tell us where you're from, man.
Originally from Maryland.
Okay.
I was born in El Paso.
Right.
My dad was in the Army, so we kind of traveled around a little bit. Not too much. Went over to Germany, came back, El Paso, and then he was stationed in Aberdeen, and that's when he got out. And we kind of just stuck around there. And, I stayed there in Maryland until, I left for the Marine Corps.
Gotcha.
And then now it's just been all over the place.
Nice. So I know I said Army veteran when
Yes.
you come in, so elaborate to the people. What do you mean by it? Because you've already divided the audience.
I know. So originally, when I first enlisted out of high school, I enlisted, to go to the Marine Corps. Then I had a small break in service.
Gotcha.
And when I re-enlisted, that's when I joined the Army.
Army, and that's the one where you stayed in for the majority of your military
Exactly.
career. Okay,
Yeah,
understood.
yeah.
Okay. So you did serve both, so you can claim both.
Yeah. So hopefully you didn't lose too many.
Yeah, I know, right? Please
there.
come back.
Exactly.
We're all on the same team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What made you end up wanting to enlist in the first place?
Believe it or not, my dad had a friend growing up. He was a Marine, and he was just very sharp and always talked about the Marine Corps and the benefits of it. And I was pretty much hooked at that point. But then after seeing one of my best friends, he graduated before I did. I actually got to visit Paris Island to watch him graduate. And then after going down there and seeing the graduation and everything, I was sold.
It moved you, huh?
It moved me, man. Yeah, they were sharp, man. Those Marines, they look good. So it's just like,
No, I understand that as well. I know for me, it was my recruiter came into our high school, and I hadn't even had any kind of desire to want to join.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends who were like in JROTC, and they're always dressed. I'm like, yeah, those guys are nice and they look cool, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
My recruiter came in, and I gotta say, the guy's good. They're good. Those recruiters, man, they're
They know
swifty.
what they're doing.
Oh yeah. Hey, he was real nice, and he came in, but also he had his service working uniform in the NSUs, and I was like, man, this look nice, and he was just real professional, real calm, knew exactly how to talk, and I was like, all right, I'm listening. And then, long story short, I joined.
Well, the Navy, their dress uniforms.
Oh yeah,
they're sharp too.
Some of them are cool. They're very unique.
Exactly.
I do like that. So yeah, well, that's cool, man. So all right, so you joined right out of high school.
Yep.
You go to the Marines, and that was what's it called? Reserves.
Yes. So I was in the Marine Corps Reserves, and being in Maryland, my reserve unit was out of D.C. It was actually an Air Force base. So
understood.
This was pre 9/11, so not much was going on. I was supply in the Marine Corps, so there really wasn't much for us to do there. Not an exciting 4 years.
Understood. Okay, and so after you do your reserves 4 years, you get out. I guess talk to us about what made you want to go back in, and more specifically into the Army this time.
Well, 9/11 happened, that was a big part of going back in. But, I was kind of just realizing, that the jobs that I had while I was during that break in service, they I don't know, something just didn't feel fulfilled in my life, and I started going down the wrong road again, which is one of the reasons why I also joined the Marines, going down the wrong road and, kind of, made that decision to. I mean, my dad had a big part of that as well. Not that he forced me, but he sat down and talked with me, and he was like, "Hey, son, everything was going smooth when you were in. Have you thought about it?" And at that point, I was like, you know what, I do want to go back in, and I really wanted to go back in and pursue something in the medical field, specifically, a combat medic. So I went and talked to. It was a civilian recruiter who was a friend of mine. and he got me back in.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. So you were in Baltimore,
Yeah.
right? And when 9/11 happened, so
Mhm.
I know that's like kind of the Northeast is very close to when a lot of
Yeah.
major cities are close. Do you kind of remember, like, as far as like feeling the impact of it
Oh
had in the
yeah.
surrounding areas and how people reacted and just kind of the air of it
Yeah,
all?
it was man, it was I at the time I really didn't realize just how big that event was. And I was working at JP Morgan Chase, which their headquarters it's in New York City, and actually one of their buildings is right there, and it's on the same block or 2 blocks from the World Trade Center. But I really honestly didn't realize how big that event was until it was over.
Right?
I remember
Yeah.
getting the call, hey, turn the TV on, and turned it on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
It's almost surreal, right?
is.
Like you don't even really comprehend what's the full scope of it,
It was
all.
crazy.
Yeah.
I actually drove to work
Yeah.
that day, and the parking lot was empty. And nobody called me, but it was because their headquarters were over there. And,
Yeah.
and I know for the next, man, it probably had been 3 weeks. I just watched nothing but that, to the point where I was just dreaming about it. I
Yeah.
had to shut the TV off.
No, definitely. No, I know that was a scary moment for a lot of Americans in
Oh, yeah.
general. I can only imagine what it was like to be in the Northeast around that time. I'm sure that the air was probably really heavy, just
Oh.
filled with sorrow. I mean,
Yeah.
even thinking about it too much now, like it's still
It
like
is.
daunting. Like just to even think about the casualties and
It is,
the
yeah.
impact that it had on so many people.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
definitely one of the saddest things that I've really had to go through.
No, absolutely. All right. So you end up going back to the Army. Around what time is this, and how did it differ from your time in the Marines? Give us a little bit more details. On
So this was 2005.
that. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So 2005. Originally I asked my recruiter. I wanted to go back through basic again, and he was trying to explain to me that he would try, but usually Marines are sent right over to their AIT to their school. I was kind of telling him, hey man, I haven't been doing PT. I'm not in shape. I'm going to be, a little bit older than these 18-year-olds coming out of basic. I kind of wanted to go to boot camp just to learn the culture of the Army.
Right.
Unfortunately, that was not an option. So they threw me right in and
Straight to the wolves,
straight
huh?
to the wolves. And
That's funny.
I didn't really know what to expect. I know in the Marines, you graduate, boot camp. You go on to Marine combat training or whatever school, and at that point you don't really see drills anymore. Or at least that's how it was when I was. You don't see drills anymore. So got to Fort Sam late, real late, and was woken up in the morning by drills, and kind of was like, what is going on? But yeah, it was a rude awakening and definitely a culture shock with the differences between the Marine Corps and the Army.
For sure.
But it's one of those things where you sink or swim. You
Right,
kind of
yeah.
have to learn, and so that's what I did.
No, that's good for you,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I know it's not easy. I would
Yeah.
assume, especially because obviously military and being in any kind of basic training, they drill into you how to say certain things, how to think
Exactly.
a certain type of way.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of already had that, and then you have to change all that up again, and then adopt a new one. So
Yeah.
I
just
can imagine how difficult that might be.
learning the lingo, the
Yeah.
culture, what to do, not to do.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. It's something that you adapt, you learn quickly.
Yeah.
But getting
That
to that
transition
step
period, yeah.
with drills there, they didn't make it easy.
No, I can believe
so.
that. Do they tease you at all if they ever found out?
Well, thankfully, I was part of the prior service platoon.
Oh, okay.
So there were a few
A
other
lot of
Marines
ones.
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there were a few
We gotta
other
stick
Marines.
together, guys. It's rough out
Exactly,
here.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. So you join the Army. You get adjusted. Tell us about your first deployment. How did you go? Where did you go?
So right from the get, there in at Fort Sam where I was doing my training, they were reading off, where everybody's going. Hey, you're going to Germany. You're going here. They came up. They were Garcia. You're going to 4th Infantry Division, and then they were like, you're going to Iraq. Get ready for Iraq. And I didn't really know how soon, but yeah, I got to Fort Hood. I would say February, maybe March, and right from the get, we're training.
Yeah.
Got NCT, and we were in Kuwait by November.
Oh, okay.
In November, and then in Iraq by December.
Okay.
In Baghdad.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
In the thick of it all, huh?
It was a crazy year. So
Yeah.
it's the end of 2005, beginning of 2006. It was a lot.
I believe it,
It was kind of one of those moments where we're flying in a Chinook, flying low over the city of Baghdad, and you can see down in people's yards or see the streets, and And in your head, I'm just thinking, man, I'm in Baghdad, Iraq. At the time, it was considered one of the deadliest cities in the world.
No, I definitely remember that too.
Yeah.
Back then, even me being as young as I was at the time,
Yeah.
I still remember it, seeing it like as all constantly in the news about how much stuff is going on, too many like all these terrorist attacks and everything. So I can only imagine. How old were you around this time?
Man, I was probably 25.
Oh, okay. So you're still a fairly young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it probably still shocked you to like even be like, I'm going into
It was.
this. Yeah.
It was. I mean, having your guys there with you, your platoon, and people you're close with, that you're all going through it together.
Yeah.
But we really didn't know exactly what was in
to
store
expect.
for us.
Yeah.
Exactly. We trained hard. We knew what to do, but you don't know what you're actually getting
until
into,
you're there,
until
right?
You're there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Do you feel like the rest of your guys all kind of shared the same like mindset as you? Like they were all just freaked out as much?
Yeah. Then there was a few guys there. We had a few that had been to Iraq already.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of leaned on them, for their advice. But the thing is, with the medic platoon, we all got assigned to different places. So we got assigned to different companies who went to different parts of Iraq. So you really didn't have those guys that you trained with that you were using kind of as your, hey,
support system.
We're together.
Yeah.
We got separated, So you kind of were just out there.
Military life can be rough like that. Man.
Yeah,
you make some really good friends you can rely on, and next thing you know, boom, you're in a completely different area, completely new people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like starting over again.
And every once in a while, you would see them. You might have to go to the certain fob, or you'd run into them, or a lot of times you would go to like memorial services that they would have there, and you would run into them. But it really wasn't a time to, hey, what's going on? It was more like, man, you lost one of your guys. So
man.
Yeah.
That's got to be rough.
Yep.
Yeah. How long were you there for the first time?
I was there for a year.
Oh,
so
okay.
from December to December, the first 6 months there, we were on this very small little fob called Fob Falcon. It was kind of right off this place called Route Jackson in Iraq, and the fob itself was not much there. Just it's just a thing of dirt surrounded by some by some fence, and had a chow hall, had a gym, but nothing special. But our area that we were in charge of, wasn't bad. We'd go out, I mean, you would see some stuff, but nothing crazy.
Gotcha.
About 6 months in, they moved us to buy up to the airport area, which it's the airport, and then it's just attached to it are all these different fobs, right? Which the fob was amazing. I mean,
you got a
the
good one.
Food, the DFAC, the gym, they just had everything that you could ask for, to your home away from home. But our area then, it was bad. It was bad. They had snipers. I mean, IEDs. It was a completely different. It was a change from the first half of deployment to the last half.
Gotcha.
So that's when we started experiencing, all the sniper attacks and IEDs and the losses. We lost 19 guys. Throughout that year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's so many.
Yep.
Oh man, it's got to be hard to I guess especially in the moment. You know how it's like to push on, and it's like even you don't really have time to really process it or to mourn it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's like when guys they come out and they come back. That's when it kind of all hits them at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you would come back, and you really don't have time because the next day you're going back out again.
Yep.
So you just kind of push it to the side and then you keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
So
it's rough out there.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Around what time did you? I guess was it within that year span? Was that when you I guess got in touch with one of our Soldier Angels volunteers?
Yeah. So early on in the deployment, I had, honestly, I think it was in Kuwait. In Kuwait, they had it was a USO, and you could go in there and you could do a bunch of different things. They had, you could read books if you had kids, and they'd send it to them. And I remember they had something there for the Soldiers Angels, and I kind of asked, what is this? And you'll get assigned an angel, and they'll send you stuff. Here, fill out this paper, and I kind of filled it out, just like and sure enough, I got a letter, and it was just say this guy was just saying, hey, this the stuff that you want, and introducing himself and kind of just telling me about himself, and I wrote him back, you know, and then I got the first package, you know, and it was after a long day out, you know, came back, not sure who it was, opened it up, and bam, you know, all the stuff that I had asked for, and now it's like, oh man, this is cool, you know,
awesome,
yeah.
You ended up just getting this package, and it had everything you had asked for.
Yeah.
All right. So was it like a snacks and stuff like that?
Everything. So I mean, they asked what kind of deodorant you use, what kind of snacks you like, what kind of drinks you like, what kind of books you like, what kind of movies. I mean, this one didn't have the movies, but it had a book in there. It had, you know, some beef jerky. It had cookies, deodorant. You know, he even told me, if there's things on that list that you want or that you need, let me know and I'll send it to you.
Wow.
Yeah, and sure enough, he did. You know,
Man.
yeah.
Shout out to our volunteers,
Yeah, man.
There's some good volunteers out there. I love hearing these kind of stories.
It made such a difference. You know, it's, you know, when you're gone for 12 months, I guess anywhere, you know, you have a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm going to write you.
Yep.
And, you know, the first, you know, first month, first 2 months, you're getting some letters, and then they slowly start dying down, right? Slowly start dying down, and getting mail or getting packages, honestly, it just made your day.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you don't know when the mail's coming, right?
No.
Sometimes it could be come back, but sometimes you would come back from a hard mission, and you come back and you have that package, or even more so, you know, you're leaving that day, right? You're going out on mission, but you're like, man, the whole time I'm out there, I'm like, man, I can't wait to get back. My angel, you know, sent over some cookies, you know, or what have you, you know. So yeah, it definitely made a huge
all
difference.
those little things, right, that are just not even there, that you can't even think about. I want to get some cookies right now, like not available to you, but they finally do. They all of a sudden do become available.
Exactly.
And it just becomes this big world of like appreciation.
Or even
right?
we would ask, you know, to send Coke, like Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
From the States, though, because the sodas, the Coca-Cola's there, they were Coca-Cola, but they tasted different.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So little things that you learn. You
don't even think about.
You don't think about. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man, I could imagine that makes such a big difference those giant, like, big stressful just environments.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just even you know, you only have a certain selection of deodorants or sops or whatever they have at the PX there. Or the little store that they have, you know, and you know, just to have, you know, the same stuff
that you want,
you want and that you had at home, it kind of just brings a sense of just normalcy and just makes you kind of just feel, you know, a little bit more like you have a piece of home there,
that makes a lot of sense.
Sounds so little, but it makes a big difference.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I'm assuming that it was just it wasn't just you; it was also you and your guys that got to benefit from the care package as well, right?
Yeah, there were a few guys that didn't fill the stuff out when we were in Kuwait, you know, and you know, I kind of was just telling him, man, you know, I have my angels, you know, he's cool, man, you know, so we found ways for them to reach out, and then they started getting
nice, man,
too.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear.
Yeah,
no, you know, we love our angel volunteers, man. They make a lot of difference. It's a lot of service members, and I always love hearing the stories come back because it's just kind of validates that what we do here, it does help people.
Oh,
you know,
man, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's all we're about. So it's like, as long as we're sticking to it and it's working, we love to hear it. We love to share it and encourage it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. Did you ever end up meeting up with your angel?
So we kept in touch after.
His name was Joseph, right?
Joseph.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we ended up. I ended up, you know, getting back from Iraq, and then I was sent over to Washington D.C. I worked at Walter Reed, and I kept in touch with him. I mean, because I knew a lot about him. He would tell me, he would write letters, and it wasn't just, just didn't send things. He would write a letter, and he would tell me, you know, about his dogs. He was telling me about a project he was doing at the house, you know.
Gotcha.
And then I would write him back, and I would look forward to getting the next one. Man, I'm like, hey, man, I wonder how that project went.
How'd it go?
You know, man, tell me about it. Show me something, you know. And
sure.
so, yeah, we kept in touch, and you know, he ended up visiting D.C. while I was stationed there, and we met up.
That's
you know,
awesome,
got to meet him. Everything was cool. He was, you know, it was pretty cool to, even though I saw pictures of him, but to meet the person that
Yeah.
that had been writing for a whole year.
Putting a face to the name.
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
It
you
is
know?
different. Yeah.
And then, I came down, 'cause I was in DC for 2 years, then came down with orders to go to Fort Stewart.
Okay.
And I was assigned to an artillery unit, and, we were going back over to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had messaged my angel and just said, hey, I'm not sure if you're still involved with the organization, Soldiers Angels organization, but I'm going to go back over and right away.
Man,
all right, hey,
that's
I
awesome,
got you,
dude.
man. I got you,
That is awesome.
and she sure enough did. Just like the first time.
Shout out to our angels, man.
Man.
Going above and beyond, serving those who serve.
Man,
Makes me proud.
I can guarantee, had I done 15 more deployments,
would have been
this
there.
dude would have been there.
I believe it.
Yeah, man.
no,
He was
definitely.
like that, man.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear it. So, around what time did you end up getting out of the military?
So, I went back over with the 3rd ID,
Uh-huh.
and then I was stationed here in San Antonio.
Okay.
I worked in the ER at, it was BAMC, but now it's
Yeah.
SAMC.
Mhm.
At that time, the way it works with a lot of the medics is, kind of, combat arms unit, I re-enlist for MEDAC. Combat arms unit, re-enlist for MEDAC. And the cycle was going to continue. So, in 2013, I had made the decision to go ahead and get out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were out here when you decided to, and you just decided to stay out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I knew when I first came to San Antonio for training,
Mhm.
I knew that this is where I wanted to
Really?
be. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew it's where I wanted to be, and it kind of just worked out that I was here,
Gotcha.
and then I ended up staying here.
Nice. Okay. What made you want to stick around here?
Man, it's just a little bit of everything, man.
Yeah.
The culture here. I love the culture. I love the food. I love Texas. I mean,
okay.
Texas, there's nothing like Texas.
Yeah.
Man.
Texas is
nothing like
its own
Texas.
place. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
there was just everything that I needed here was here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you can't. Some people complain about the heat, man,
Yeah.
but you can't beat today. What's today? 70 degrees.
And it's December. Yeah.
Can't beat that, man.
Yeah, that is true.
So.
Very, very true. So yeah, you ended up staying here in San Antonio. You're obviously still here.
Yeah.
That's why we're able to have this one in person, which I was really excited about because a lot of the service members that we helped out, that our angels helped out at, they're always all over the country.
All over, yeah.
So we do it through video chat usually. So when I heard that you were here, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm so glad we can do it in person finally.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot better. So I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you ended up liking it. I guess through it all, obviously you're still here. What are you doing now?
So I'm in real estate now.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I'm a realtor. Slowly getting into investing and kind of seeing where that takes me. But
Okay.
it's everything's been good. I feel like the military has set me up for
Gotcha.
success in a lot of ways, even though I
Nice.
didn't stay in the medical field.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I guess I guess on that note, what kind of skills or I guess lessons from your time in the service do you feel translated over to your civilian life now?
I would. I mean, the just the confidence that I feel that the military instilled in me. I've always been a confident person, but that was more of just as a person,
Yeah.
But they gave me the confidence to go out there and know that I can succeed and just pretty much really anything that you set your mind to.
Gotcha.
When you're put into a leadership position in the military. To me, it feels like it followed me right into the civilian world.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish you had known prior to joining? I guess we'll go with the Army since obviously that was kind of your more extended one. Anything you wish you had known?
Man, not really. I mean, I always say that when I first joined the Army and I got to my first unit, I hated life. I did. I hated it, man. They were just bam on you about everything. I mean, not even you could be on time and you could be a PT stud and you could shoot great on the range, but they just still made your life kind of hell.
Yeah.
And looking back now though, it's like, man, I'm so happy that was my first unit because they set everything up for the rest of my career.
Yep.
Had it been a unit where they were super lax and just ate up and just kind of just went with the bare minimum.
Yep.
Well, I would have adopted those habits and then
Right.
taken those with me to the next unit.
Your work ethic was on a high.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Instead, they demanded you to be the best. At least my NCOs did.
Yeah.
My NCOs in the medical platoon, they were great.
Gotcha.
And I learned a lot from them. I'm still in touch with my platoon sergeant from that.
Oh, okay.
He's here in San Antonio.
Oh, okay, nice.
So I still keep in contact with him, and we'll go have lunch or we'll meet up.
So how is that now?
It's cool, man.
We're on equal terms now, right?
It was so cool because he wasn't necessarily one of the ones that was always honest. He was honest. Don't get me wrong, but he had other NCOs to do that.
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha.
But at first it was kind of weird. I was just like, hey, Sergeant Godinez. No. Now I feel kind of comfortable. Like I say, hey Jay, and it still feels kind of weird,
right.
But we're good. He's a great guy.
That's funny. I can imagine the first time you walked into like the restaurant or room or whatever, you're like, oh god.
Yeah, just like, hey,
man, relax.
That's funny. But it's awesome having him here though too, because it's just cool, man.
Definitely.
Somebody to talk to.
No, absolutely. No, I've kept in touch with a few of my friends from after the Navy. It's always nice to still see what they're doing. I don't talk to them every day, but when I do reach out, it's always nice to be like, hey, how's life? How are things? And it's cool to even still keep in touch.
Yeah.
That experience, you can't do that with anybody else ever again. So
no, it's true.
It is very cool to still keep in touch.
You develop a bond that's different than than just the regular. Hey, this is my guy.
Just a
my
friend. Yeah. Exactly. No, I completely understand that. Any like special kind of, I guess, memories or moments that I guess really stand out to you from your whole time being enlisted?
I mean, when I came back from Iraq, my first tour, I told you I went over I was stationed in DC.
Yeah.
At Walter Reed, and there's so many different places that you could put a medic at Walter Reed, hospital, and they assigned me to Ward 57, right, which is the orthopedic and patient ward. Still didn't really know exactly what I was going to do. And then I get to Ward 57, and Ward 57 I don't know if it's still at the new Walter Reed Hospital, I don't know if it's still the same, but it's a very special place. You have a lot of the soldiers that are coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan that, have amputations that they go there. Right?
Yeah.
So I became close with a lot of the patients there. There were celebrities visiting. Every day there were celebrities visiting. You had to get used to kind of walking out of a room and a celebrity is right there in front of you, and you kind of just have to keep going and do your job. And
can't be starstruck every time.
Nah, but
very unprofessional.
If there's time for them to take pictures with the staff, then they'll take pictures with the staff. But we had President Bush go up there twice while I was there. President Obama was there.
Nice, yeah.
So that it was just seeing these guys go from their first day to when they leave, and sometimes it was 3 months, sometimes it was 6 months, sometimes it was a year. But you grow to not only grow relationships with the patient themselves, but with their family. I have some of my old patients' moms and brothers and things on Facebook. And we still talk. And it's just,
it really is such a tight bonded community, man. Because whether it's another service member or whether it's the family of one, the impact of somebody serving spreads throughout their little community, their family, their friend groups.
Yeah.
And it's like at that point, it's like, I don't serve, but my best friend does. I know what it's like to some degree. And that alone is already like, hey, let's talk, let's be friends. Because you understand something that I understand.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But those are the best ones, man. So I'm assuming that that place where you worked at was extremely like rewarding in the sense that you get to help our service members, rehabilitate, get back on their feet, kind of go out back. Yeah. And then of course you also get to see celebrities and presidents come through to even be saying thank you. And it's just this kind of nice way to really
by far that was, I would say, the highlight of my career.
That's awesome.
For multiple reasons, but it was just something that I feel like I was lucky to be able to help those.
That's
guys.
awesome, man. Yeah. I see you got some of the pictures there, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if you can show some of these.
I have this one right here. This one was with George Bush. I had another one I couldn't find, but that one's with George Bush.
Look at that, man.
I was
see if we can show it to this camera
didn't
there.
have the beard in that one right there. But this was you go and you give them your address and your name, and then you get this manila envelope in the mail a few weeks later. But
Two presidents back to back.
Yeah.
So you got one more, right?
Yeah. Then I have this one. So this one I can't say he was the president then. This was with Obama, but this was the day before his inauguration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he was right on. He was right at the door.
Yeah. Cool guy,
awesome.
man. He was cool too. And then George Bush, man, he was funny, man. You know how like you see him laugh like on TV, you know, he says something, you know, man, he's funny though in real life.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So those are two, man. You know, I have a couple other ones, you know, with some other guys, you know, but those are my favorite.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome pictures. Man, that's awesome to hear. I know through your experience at all, obviously you have your own unique experience as far as what you went through, but you've spoken to a lot of other veterans, you know what I mean? And especially the ones you've treated. So I feel like you probably have a really good understanding about what it means to be a veteran, what it means to serve, and especially now as you know, coming out of that and still going about life and, you know, using what you've learned to succeed now. I guess, what do you believe society can better understand to support veterans and each of their unique experiences?
I mean, that alone, what you said, that every veteran's different, and you know, what things that might trigger me, or you know, as far as PTSD or my reasons to do certain things. Other veterans have completely different reasons. What's going on in their head is completely different, right? You know, I try to help and work with the veteran community as much as I can. I feel like a lot of veterans are misunderstood. You know, they get thrown into a category. You know, this guy's he's a druggie. This guy's an alcoholic, and this. But you don't know their story.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, ask and talk to him. You know, find out, become friends with him. You know, and you know, see where it can go.
No, definitely.
You know, so.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. I've seen that too. I mean, even when I was in the service, I was obviously like a couple years in. But I had served with guys that had been in for like 15 years, obviously coming through the ship. And even just the way they talk, the way that I could tell certain things would just get them angrier that other people were just like whatever about. And I was like, I don't know what it is. But then, of course, one day he'd tell me like, no, I saw this or this happened to me on this deployment. And I saw my friend's arm like get broken in half or something like that. And so he's very like, they get very triggered about like not being safe in a certain scenario, you know, something along those lines.
Yeah,
there's a reason behind it all.
It is, and even if you're in, you know, if somebody who's not a veteran, and if they're in a manager position or they're the boss of a veteran, you know, there's certain things. And I'm not talking about that's going to trigger them and they're going to, you know, they're going to go off on somebody, but just the way the military does things.
Yes,
it's kind of, you know, you say it,
you
put it out, and it gets done.
Yes,
you know, and a lot of times in the civilian world, it's, you know, as a boss, you can say something to somebody, and it's why, or oh no, and oh, you're talking back, and this and this that, and veterans, they're not used to that. They're used to let's go, boom, right? You know, so sometimes it's hard to break that mentality.
Yes, it's definitely a different mindset to take on when it comes to the work environment. Yeah, that's definitely true. Let's see. Any kind of advice or thoughts that you'd like to give to anybody considering serving, any future service members?
I mean, just take it all in and take advantage of everything that the military can do for you. You know, while you're there, it might seem just like Groundhog Day. You're doing the same thing, but there's so many different resources that the Army or that the military can provide for you. You know, and you're going to meet. You know, if you're traveling the world, you're going to meet different people from different cultures, and you know, and just try to be patient. Sometimes, you know, a lot of times the culture we have here is, you know, of course, it's not the same. So what we consider rude might be the norm over there, you know. So have patience, learn about them, ask them questions, you know, eat their food, you know, just try to take it all in, because you're doing this pretty much on the government's dime, man. And if, you know, if I could go back and you know, do it all over, you know, I kind of, you know, I had to go to Iraq and had to go here, man. But I would have loved to go to Germany and just travel Europe and just eat different foods, and you know, so just take advantage as much as you can. Take advantage of the educational benefits. Take classes while you're in. You know, save that post 9/11, the GI, whatever, and just take advantage of as much as you can.
Yeah,
You know?
makes perfect sense. It's great advice, actually. I definitely agree 100%. You know, I do think that people here in the States, like civilians, a lot of us they don't get a chance to travel outside of the States or to a country or a culture that's completely different, like 100%. I know that I had never left Texas until I joined, you know, so to me, it wasn't just leaving the country, it was leaving the state was like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So when I got to go overseas and I got to experience it, same thing, I took it all in. I went out, I tried my best to talk to them.
Yeah.
I was in Japan and they actually know a little bit of English, some more than others because they just know. And so I really tried my best to like just be friendly, try to talk, eat some of the food that I had no idea what it was. And I gotta say, I got the most out of the experience because of that exactly. You know, and that's the kind of thing where it's like you can't really teach that in a classroom.
No.
You can't teach that from talking to somebody. You have to go there and be there, you know?
Yeah. I think that just being kind to the people you're around. I'm a big believer in the energy spreading, you know, and you never know who you're gonna meet. You might meet somebody that you're going to be friends with, you know, for the rest of your life. You know, I mean, I still have people that I've met in certain places. I mean, one guy in particular in Jamaica, you know, and I still talk to him. He lives in Canada now.
That's
you know,
awesome,
we still talk just because, man, you just be kind and just I don't know. I'm a talker though, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
it's very true though.
Learn, just open your mind and learn that everybody's not from the United States.
Yeah, for sure, man. So. No, that's awesome. It's good to hear. All right, man. Well, I think that's a great message to end it on.
Yep.
I really do appreciate you coming through here again, telling us your story.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. I'd love to hear it. Guys, check out the episode on YouTube. Go click on it. It'll be great. It's going to be awesome. We'll get this all nicely buttoned up. Thank you again for joining us, everybody, for another episode of Tribute to Our Heroes. And until next time, may no soldier go unloved. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
Man. Yep.